Howdy, this is the Views from the Shop podcast. I'm your host, your one and only host, Tim Miller, and today it is Thursday, March 12th, 2026, and I wish you a very, very, very happy National Plant a Flower Day. Well, on today's show, we are recapping an Ohio State victory over Iowa in the third round of the Big Ten tournament. The Buckeyes win 72-69. The mantra in March, it's survive and advance. And that is exactly what Ohio State did in this game. The Buckeyes survived. They survove also. The past tense of survive. Many don't know this. They survived in this one. It was a game in which Ohio State got up by 16 at one point, and it looked like they were all but in control, ready to run away with this game before Iowa stormed back. So today, we'll recap the win. I'll give my thoughts. We'll go into major takeaways and things like that, and then we'll move on. Look, this is a very, very busy time of year for the Views from the Shop podcast. I hope you can tell some kind of noticeable improvement in my voice from yesterday's show, if you're able to take that one in for the Iowa preview. It was probably 2 o'clock exactly, where I thought I was going to die. Okay. I'll just be honest. I thought I was going to die on my couch. I felt horrible. I felt fatigued every single day this week. Right about 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm just ready to call it quits. I'm ready for my wife to enjoy the life insurance and move on, because for some reason I feel wholly fatigued, and it's something that I've not been able to get by. I don't know why it is. I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know. Someone ripped into a box of Crumble last night that was dropped off at our house. Our dasher, I hope, has been relieved of his duties at this point. And maybe I was drugged at another point. But all that to say, I'm powering through. Here's what we're going to do, okay? Got this show for you coming. Then I'm going to give a little bonus episode tonight of who should Ohio State want to play and not want to play in the NCAA tournament. No Michigan preview, okay? I've talked about them twice. That's enough. Actually, 4 times. That's enough. And I don't want to cannibalize all the other episodes we're going to come out with. And then tomorrow, after the Michigan game, we'll have a recap. Then after that, we're going to the in-laws. So wish me luck. Ohio State 72, Iowa 69. As we get into this, please remember, subscribe. This is your only Ohio State basketball exclusive podcast covering the Buckeyes year-round, preview, recap, every single game, except for the next one. Other than that, we do it. We do it hard all year long, baby. So subscribe, follow on the socials, get to the Substack. You just should. It's a great community there. That's not really the main purpose of why I have the Substack. It's more so you can get insider intel, scoops, things like that. However, I will say, hey guys, how many messages did we exchange in the Substack for the Ohio State and Iowa game? I'll let you know. This is a Thursday at noon. Look at that, right on the nose. 199 messages exchanged. And when Gabe Cupps made that 3, we went crazy in there. We went absolutely berserk. So it's cool. The guys in there are awesome. I absolutely love them. And they love the chat too. What are you missing out on? I don't know. You'd have to see. There's a link in the description to get in there for a week free. Try it out. All right. Let's talk business. Ohio State 72, Iowa 69. This game started, and it looked like one team hadn't played for 5 days. It looked like another team just played yesterday. And Ohio State came out. I wouldn't say they came out flat, but the Buckeyes came out and they looked awful offensively. They start the game 1-7 from the field with 4 turnovers. Bruce Thornton clanked a 3. John Mobley Jr. threw a shot away. He wanted the foul, didn't get it. Everyone fumbling passes, whereas Iowa, on the flip side, they start 3 of 5 from the field. Booty butt wide open 3. Wide open 3 for Iowa that was missed early on. Ohio State was just losing guys. Guys were wide open at times early on in this game. Ohio State looked like it hadn't played basketball for a while. Iowa looked like it had played basketball very recently. And it was, the start of the game was not at all like the way the first time Ohio State and Iowa played. Of course, the Buckeyes get up to a 14-2 lead in that one. In this one, that's not the case. Ohio State didn't lead until like 15 minutes into this game. But it was a game where at the start, you said, man, this Ohio State team does not look good. It looks like Iowa, in my opinion, of this game was Iowa just a bad matchup for Ohio State. I didn't think Ohio State was going to win this game. I thought it would be closer than the first time. I didn't think Ohio State would win. I don't like the matchup. And that's how it looked. But you close the half shooting 11 of 14 from the field. Ohio State 11 of 14 from the field to close the first half, also made 7 in a row during that stretch. They figured it out. They found something with Christoph Tilley. They found something with Amari Bynum. Bruce Thornton started to get going. Didn't get a lot from John Mobley Jr. in this game. He finishes with 12 points. That's fine. Makes 3 free throws. Devin Royal, not seen really whatsoever in this game, other than it looked like he got his eye cut open, I believe. And he got no help off the bench other than Gabe Cupp scoring 3 points. But all in all, this was a game that offensively for Ohio State, they're really built by the front court and winning inside. In the second half, Ohio State got punched and they punched back. I think that is probably one of the more encouraging parts of this game. Why does it matter so much? To me, I think it's because you just look no further than the game against Iowa the first time these two teams played. Ohio State got punched in that one. 14-2, they get up, then a 35-9 run at halftime. Go to the locker room saying, what the crap just happened? And that's almost what we said at the end of this game as well. When that 3 went up by Iowa at the buzzer, my jaw dropped. It felt like it was in slow motion, and I was like, what the crap's going on out here, folks? You're just up by 16, 3-point game, offensive rebound, get a chance for 3. It's missed, luckily for Ohio State. So a weird ending to the game. Regardless, that last game, Ohio State got punched against Iowa, did not punch back. In this game, Ohio State got punched, punched back, got punched again, punched back. It was back and forth. And really, really encouraging to see. Ohio State, Bruce Thornton, they go on that 10-0 run, all 10 points by Bruce Thornton, extend that lead to 16. Iowa then responds with a 10-1 run. Iowa closed the game on a 15-8 run. They scored 15 of the final 23 points in this game. But what we saw in the first game between Ohio State and Iowa was Jake Diebler kind of helplessly calling timeouts, no response from the Buckeyes whatsoever. And yet, in this one, it was a reversal. Jake Diebler calls a timeout with 12 minutes left before Iowa could go on a run. I think, again, you look back in that first game, Jake Diebler calling timeouts, there was just I thought the first timeout that he took, by the way, in that first Iowa loss it was too late. And from there, it was just an avalanche. And in this game, Jake Diebler takes this timeout earlier before Iowa can really start to get in motion. And I thought that was huge. Iowa called a timeout right after Ohio State got up to that 16 point lead. This was a game where Iowa wasn't able to take over with the timeouts, the way that they did in the first game against Ohio State. And Ohio State, Jake Diebler did not get out chess matched in this game, which was really, really encouraging to see. As I've said, from the moment Jake Diebler got the job last season into this season, multiple times this season, I believe Jake Diebler is going to get better as a head coach. Every single game at this point, the experience that he has compared to every other head coach in college basketball, essentially, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have the experience. He doesn't have the experience that Ben McCollum has, right? Kind of. Ben McCollum has a couple years on him. I know he's been coaching in the D2 ranks. I get all that. But D1 coaching level, I mean, Jake Diebler does not have the experience. It's his second year doing this. So I believe that when you have such low level experience, the growth that you see can be rapid compared to how much growth maybe a Tom Izzo is going to have. Been coaching forever, right? So I think that what we saw in this game, it was real. It's tangible growth that you can see, you can touch it, you can feel it, you can rub it on yourself if you'd like. I feel like we saw growth from Jake Diebler in this game. We saw that timeout taken, and we saw Ben McCollum not be able to just out-strategize Jake Diebler in this game. The Buckeyes get punched, they punch back, and they win. Another big aspect of this game, I talked about in the preview show, Ohio State, in the first game against Iowa, they were horrible in the paint. They were horrible inside. It was the worst paint performance of the year from Ohio State offensively and defensively. in that first game against the Hawkeyes. Whereas in this game today, Ohio State scored a more than respectable 36 points in the paint in this game. A lot of that coming from Christoph Tilly and Amari Bynum. We'll talk about him in just a second. And they only allowed 20 paint points in this game. That, by the way, is the second lowest Iowa has scored in the paint so far this season. What a stark difference from game one to game two. Again, something I believe we can look back and say, hey, Jake Dealer, he was a big part of that, right? Like the growth. The growth that we're seeing from game one to game two against Iowa, it's a small sample size, but I do think that it needs to be recognized at this point. So Ohio State much better in the paint in this game. Look, Bruce Thornton was really good, but Amari Bynum and Christoph Tilly were really, really good in this game for Ohio State. As we look at what Amari Bynum and Christoph Tilly did in this game, Amari Bynum, 11 points, 5 of 10 from the field, didn't make a 3, 0 of 3. 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Christoph Tilly, 16 points, 5 of 6 from the field. Had a couple of rebounds as well, a couple of assists. But those two guys were very, very good for Ohio State inside specifically. I think they had great feel for the game. Christoph Tilly seemed to get going a little bit earlier than anyone else in this one. Amari Bynum kind of followed Christoph Tilly's lead, but they combined for 27 points, 6 assists, 8 rebounds, 10 of 16 from the field combined in this one. And my goodness, I mean, Amari Bynum, that finish that he had a couple incredible finishes, but he had one where Christoph Tilly finds him and he finishes a dunk. Another where Bruce Thornton finds him and he like kind of double clutches it, catches it in the air, and then finishes with the dunk. Amari Bynum, I've talked about him a lot over the past couple of weeks. He has been so special for Ohio State. He came into this game averaging 10 points per game as a starter for Ohio State. Where would this Ohio State team be without Amari Bynum? Especially without Brandon Knoll now at this point, where on earth would this Ohio State team be without Amari Bynum starting at power forward for the Buckeyes? The depth would be nowhere to be found, obviously. And you'd be looking at a freshman who's kind of hapless, trying to find his way to success in his first year in the Big Ten at Ohio State. I mean, Amari Bynum has progressively gotten better throughout the year. And I think in large part, he's responsible for the success Ohio State has had. Yeah, you can look at Bruce Thornton. You look at John Woolley Jr., of course. Like, I get all of those players. But Amari Bynum, his emergence here in the past few weeks and kind of last month of the year, he's been really, really special for Ohio State. Without Brandon Knoll, who, by the way, I think he was available. That the sense that I got and that I told to insider subscribers yesterday was, yeah, Brandon Knoll's going to be available to play. I hope I didn't say he's going to play. I assumed he would play with him returning to the rotation. I don't know. I sent some texts out. The game just ended essentially, so I don't know if I have an answer while I record during this show. So I don't know if Brandon Knoll was a DNP coach's decision or a DNP he's not ready to go yet. But man, how good Amari Bynum has been for Ohio State, given the fact that you don't have Brandon Knoll and he's had to step into a role and start and play well and consistently play well. He's been absolutely huge for Ohio State. Christoph Tilly, again, was big in this one for the Buckeyes. 16 points, 5 of 6 from the field. You want to see him rebound more. You don't want to see Bruce Thornton, your point guard, lead your team in rebounding, but that's what happened in this game. Ohio State was -3 on the glass. Iowa, not a special rebounding team overall, so it is what it is. You have other metrics where you were really, really good. Ohio State, by the way, all that paint scoring, it led to them shooting 55% from the field. This is how the Buckeyes are going to win in March. If they're going to advance in March and continue to win games, it's going to be scoring inside, scoring in the paint. That field goal percentage looking really good because they're taking so many shots inside. So really, really good for Ohio State in this one. Another area where the Buckeyes were kind of exceptional comes from Bruce Thornton. 24 points in this game, pulls in 6 rebounds, 10 of 14 from the field. Bruce Thornton just doing what Bruce Thornton does. I mean, his ability in this game, I think, overall to kind of take over during that 10-0 run. I know people talking about it kind of behind the scenes or people talking about it even on the broadcast who, for some reason, the color guy just all in on Bennett Sturts and then for God knows what reason, talking about how Bruce Thornton's going to fail in the NBA in the 3rd round of the Big Ten tournament game. Why are we making that connection? I don't know, man. Bruce Thornton just continues to give his all to Ohio State, continues to produce for Ohio State, 24 points in this game. He leads all scorers. He led the way for Ohio State. He was the reason that the Buckeyes got out in that 10-0 run in the second half, really got the distance. And without that distance, I don't think Ohio State wins this game. So Bruce Thornton was absolutely phenomenal for the Buckeyes. Again, Tilly, Bynum, Thornton, all of those guys really, really good in this one. I'm kind of adjusting my hat if you're watching on YouTube. It feels a little askew. What else do we have from this game? Well, I tell you what. Yeah. I got a couple thoughts here. I still got a couple thoughts. Don't worry. Ohio State, I'm willing to say it. Save for the Dukes and the Michigans and whatever, the top seeds. Outside of those top seeds, at this point, we're looking at an Ohio State team that's going to enter March as one of the hottest and most impressive teams in the entire nation. Especially as you look at the teams that are around them resume-wise, you look at the 7, 8, 9, 10 seeds, especially, Ohio State might be the most popular pick of those teams seeded 7 or higher to make a Sweet 16. You look at this Ohio State team that has the guard play, has a senior leadership, on fire right now, and at least according to Torvik, really, really good since Valentine's Day. You look at how the bubble has performed as well. Cincinnati, West Virginia received the kiss of death this week. Indiana, Cal, Stanford, Virginia Tech, bye-bye. The door's open for Oklahoma, San Diego State, those types, but they're not special right now. Auburn, everyone hates Auburn. Sorry, I'm not interested in watching Miami play in the NCAA tournament this year. I don't think that they're very good. Hotly debated resume, lost to UMass. You look at Auburn, hotly debated resume, 2-8 over the last 10 to close the regular season. Auburn's got the doors open for them. They got to win some games here in order to get in, I think. I think Miami will be in. Some people can disagree and very vehemently disagree. That's fine. We can disagree and part ways as friends still. SMU lost to Louisville yesterday. Iowa, NC State, they lose today already. So you look at teams that are similar to Ohio State. No one's doing what the Buckeyes are doing right now. With the win over Iowa, as of recording, Ohio State's the number 7 team in Torvik since February 14th. Since February 14th, Ohio State has a quad 1 win over Wisconsin. They took Michigan State and Virginia to the very end. Quad 1 win over Purdue. Blowout win at Penn State. Just take care of business. Sweep them under the rug. Goodbye, Penn State. Firmly grasped the throat of Indiana for 40 minutes to essentially clinch an at-large berth. Now they've just picked up another quad 1 win over Iowa and avenged a blowout loss, their only blowout loss during this stretch, to the Hawkeyes with this win in the Big Ten tournament, the third round here today. They're now 5-2 over the last 7. The metrics say they've been elite over that stretch, by the way. There's not a single team seeded 7 through 10 at this point who's playing as well as Ohio State is right now. I don't care what Ohio State does against Michigan tomorrow in the Big Ten tournament. Michigan is one of the most dominant teams in all of the NCAA. I don't care what happens in that game. Even if Ohio State loses to Michigan, I'm not going to punish them for this, and I'm not going to take this back and say, well, Ohio State enters the NCAA tournament with a loss. Yeah, pretty much everyone does, actually. That's how the conference tournaments work. Ohio State's going to enter the NCAA tournament 7 seed, 8 seed, 9 seed, maybe a 10 at this point. If they lose to Michigan, maybe a 10, but kind of looking more in that 9 range, I assume right now. I'm not a leading bracketologist. I wouldn't know. That's why you shouldn't care what my opinion is about Miami, Ohio. But you also shouldn't think that they're good. Ohio State's going to go into the NCAA tournament. They're going to go into March with elite guard play and Bruce Thornton and John Mobley Jr. They're going to enter the Big Ten tournament with a phenomenal and blossoming freshman in Amari Bynum. They're going to enter the NCAA tournament with more health than they've had since, Thanksgiving, with Brandon Knoll available and apparently not in the rotation, but available. And they've got a growing defense that is starting to shut teams down. It's hard to look at this Ohio State team and not get excited. It's hard to look at this Ohio State team and see what Bruce Thornton does and not start to dream about what a run and not just one game in the NCAA tournament for Ohio State would look like in Bruce Thornton's senior season, but a second game and a third game for Ohio State. What could that look like for the Buckeyes? This is a team that continues to get better, that is playing its best basketball right now, more so than anyone else in terms of resumes that are similar to theirs. And maybe get a little boost off the bench from Tayson Chapman. You didn't get it today. That's okay. Maybe you get it from Tayson Chapman. Maybe you get it from Brandon Knoll. Maybe you get it from Ivan Nagovin. I don't know where it comes from. But right now, this Ohio State team is very, very good. It is playing very, very well. And look, Jake Diebler, he's passed the test. No matter what happens for the rest of the way, we have to remember how good he got this team playing late and now firmly in the NCAA tournament, not a bubble team, played its way off the bubble and into the field for the first time. Ohio State has either been on the bubble and then played off out of the field or not even on the bubble. Now Jake Diebler in year 2 has his team in the NCAA tournament, a clear step forward from year 1. A lot of people calling for Jake Diebler's heads or having to delete tweets as of now as well. This Ohio State team looks good. It's exciting to see them. And hey, look, at this point in this game, going into this game, I was saying, hey, Ohio State, if you lose this game to Iowa, it's fine. Take the 10 seed, get a 2 when you get into the round of 32, if you win that game. Now at this point, Ohio State wins. Ohio State's going to have to look at trying to track down Michigan, win that game, maybe win another, and see if they can find themselves in a 7 seed, even a 6 seed potentially. Come on, a 6 seed probably not happening, but a 7 seed. Now, hey, you got here. You got yourself into this mess, Ohio State, playing with this win over Iowa. Now you're looking at probably a 9 seed. You're going to have to get yourself out of that 8-9 spot and get out of playing a 1 seed. And if you do play a 1 seed, hope that it's Duke and they get like 3 more injuries. So, encouraging day for Ohio State. Jake Diebler takes a step forward. The Ohio State team takes a step forward. The Buckeyes pick up a big-time win over the Hawkeyes. Look out for a show coming tonight on podcast and on YouTube. I'm going to walk through some teams Ohio State should want to face and not face in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Tomorrow afternoon, Ohio State plays Michigan. I will recap that game tomorrow afternoon about the same time, and then we'll see where things go from there. I don't want to have to record it. So get along. That's how it has to go. Thanks for being here today. I know it's a little shorter one. My voice feels better. Yesterday, especially after the show, I was ready to do this. But I won't do that today. And I hope you don't either. All right. Enjoy Thursday. Thursday is, in my opinion, the best day of the season for college basketball, even over Thursday, Friday, the NCAA tournament. I said what I said. Hey, mailbag episode in the offseason. Ask me why I think that. I'll give you an answer. Until next time, thanks so much for listening today to the Views of the Shop podcast. I shut up before you shut me off.